It's getting a little chilly here in South Africa. You know, it's wintertime here. I know it's summertime back in the States. But yeah, in that vein, I want to kind of continue to talk about this Iceman album and break down this, my perspective of what's going on, what people are missing in this album. And I kind of want to point out to this bar on one of the songs, this, the Firm Frame. So at the end of this album, he's kind of, after he talks about the American corporate hit that he's going through, he kind of talks about his response to that. And one of the lyrics that he says is, he'll be making the transition from the boy to the man, and y'all wouldn't understand, from mass distribution to leading my own revolution, my own version of the revolution. I think that own version of the revolution is a key part, because if we know Drake from the past, we never heard any revolutionary, type of bars from him. So this is something that's newly inspired in him, I guess, and what I kind of want to point out is just, I don't know if I believe it, just as much as it may be a response from what he was going through with the, with the battle in 2024, and his response is to kind of go a different type of route than people are expecting, and that route is more of like suing, and I think it comes from his background. Drake has a mixed bag when it comes to his ethnicity. He got Sandra's side. Kendrick tried to lay it out for us. He got Sandra's side, and then he got Dennis' side. He got Dennis Brown, that's his father, and then he got Sandra's side. And people are saying that these type of moves that he's making with the suits and stuff is more of like Sandra's side. And I kind of want to just say, like, okay, Sandra's side does have a history of revolutions, but it's more of a performative type of revolution. Because if you think about Sandra's people and them, they have, a doctrine, and it kind of, like all of the different, I call them the three little pigs. It's all of the ones that fall under the Ham lineage, the Abraham lineage. So I call them the three little pigs. Ain't no pork on my fork, but you know what I'm saying? This is the three little pigs. You got, the straw pig, which I feel like is the Sandra's people in them. It's going to be a little bit coded, but I think y'all can catch my drift. I got some references for you, So, basically, I feel like they kind of do have a history, because they lean more towards the Old Testament. And they kind of have the Old Testament, but they also have an extension of the Old Testament that is only spoken orally. And in that capacity, in that Old Testament, they have a more of a destructive type of agenda than the New Testament of these, three little pigs. And what I feel like is happening is that if you're following up on what happened in those books in the Old Testament, then you will see that there's a level of destruction that is based upon the fact that there is no legitimate government but the governance of the higher power. And because of that, they believe in sponsoring revolutions and having revolutions that will take down these illegitimate governments in the sake of upholding their own. So I feel like that's the main thing that is happening in terms of what this revolution is inspired by. And that is kind of the first area of caution or questioning for me. After that, you have more doubling down. It's not just from that, because he also follows up with another lyric. And you can see that he has more of a, I would say, Pharisaic leaning on his views about the Bible, because he talks about it in reference to Kendrick. He says, talking about how in the Bible, maybe y'all should read a page. I iced down crosses on their necks thinking Jesus saves. Well, even if he does, nigga, either way, the blasphemy you talking, know that your amazing grace is going to be delivered. You niggas should be ashamed. The fact you had to bring those talks, your amazing grace is going to be delayed. I'm butchering the lyrics, but I'm kind of getting across that he has more of a non-belief in the, the Jesus save aspect that, the other pigs believe in. Well, the wood pig, we will call, we have the wooden pig. Let me just break it down for you right now. I would say this is the brick pig right here, the pig that believes to build on bricks. And then we have the pig that believes to build on wood. And then we have the pig that I don't have a reference to. The straw pig has, you can see that this revolution and his attention on this belief is more of a Pharisaic, like holier than thou type of viewpoint. So with that, I feel like this revolution may fall into the lines of this like performative type of destructive type. It's borderline performative and it's borderline destructive, because it's like you want a revolution only for the sense of taking down stuff to hold up higher what it is that you have to believe in. And I feel like what is he showing us that he believes in, for us to all follow through with that and be like, okay, we're going to join this revolution. So that's why I got a kind of question mark on that aspect of what is the way forward for Drake. And yeah, my understanding is more leaning towards that there is somebody that he is trying to take down, and you can see that the target is either the Kendricks of the world, or even he's referencing Jay-Z a lot in the album. So in his mindset, he has a belief that after he has become independent, he can now start his own revolution. And I guess he's going to get back, and I've been hearing rumors of like a $2 billion deal that he has on the tables. He got the bees on the table track. So I kind of question, okay, if your mindset is not to start a revolution, and what is that going to look like? And when you haven't had any revolutionary type of tactics before, and I don't think it's going to be something that is legitimate to follow, to be honest. I see that, the other people that have been positioned in the revolutionary verbiage and delivery has been the Kendricks of the world. So like, yeah, that is kind of like, a mockery in a sense. He's kind of mocking and pointing. And I don't know if Kendrick gonna take that, what I'm saying? He tried to point at him before, he tried to poke at the bear before, but, Kendrick got a different little energy on him. And this Pharisaic energy is going to be, I guess, combated by the real if he tries to go there. The main thing is just know yourself, brother. Like, know yourself. Don't try to, I feel like it's kind of psyopy in a sense, what he's trying to position himself for when he does get beyond this label situation. And, yeah, I talk more about these type of topics, these Three Little Pigs, and I'm coming from an objective point of view, not to be offensive to anybody, but I do have a series that it's called Israelite Color That God Shows that kind of breaks down my understanding of, the Three Little Pigs, and that is kind of like what I've been working on while I've been here. I have a series, I have a 3-part series, so I finished the second novel, and it's called and it's coming from a little bit of my experience with learning about this stuff and how once you do, get into learning about, the light, you kind of see that there's a shadow side to it, a judgmental side to it that, it takes upon itself. It's like you can't really take one without the other. So the whole battle is to kind of stay in the light, understand the light side of it, and not let the shadow judgmental side to come over you, which is hard to do. It's hard to kind of have control because it's such a force. And sometimes you just need to step out of it all and look at it all objectively and like just study the whole palette. So that's kind of like my view and my perspective of why I see a deeper meaning in this Iceman album. And I'm hoping that I can continue to shed some light on just these cultural references as they continue to come about. Because you see that this stuff is not about to end. You got Jay coming out with the performance in June or July, but I think it's in June. And Kendrick gonna pop out with something. So I don't think it's going to die down any soon. I don't think it's going to die down anytime soon. But I just wanted to give a fresh perspective because I'm not seeing a lot of in-depth, breakdowns of this. But people are kind of just staying on the surface level and just dismissing the album. But I feel like it's just giving a key puzzle piece to what is emerging as the full picture, and it's kind of backed by all this history that we know. So yeah, if you have more questions, you have any challenges to what I'm saying, definitely reach out. We could discuss. And I'll bring you up on, we can do a live stream. We can do a lot of things, it's an open platform. Just join that responsible, and we'll continue to discuss and continue to break down these topics.